you needed to have happen was strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is based more like on a video, an ongoing, every day. This is a constantly changing assessment of what's going on. And I'm going to tell you some techniques for doing that very easily with the strategic thinking. It's just part of everyday functioning of how the board does its work. Now, one of the things you can do, by the way, is you can create, I'm going to call this a mission caller. Somebody whose job it is at board meetings to say, are we on target here? You know, have we gone off in a direction we're not supposed to go? Is this true to our values? Is this true to our vision? And if it's not, we have to pull back and we have to make sure we're on target. The other thing is we can design our meetings so that they're going to be friendly to the concept of strategic thinking. And that's what I want to spend the balance of our time here doing, is making sure that our meetings are geared toward that. The first thing is we want to make sure that our meetings are conducive to strategic thinking. Devote enough time to the subjects that people can really deal with them. I know people who are very proud. Our board meetings last 1 hour. Well, when you get that into people's minds, they start looking at their watches. You know, how close to the hour are we? Forget that. If you're dealing with mega issues, if you're really engaging people, if you're really getting their ideas and their input, they forget about the time. It's when they're bored that time drags on and on and on. So what you want to do is forget about, you know, our meetings last an hour, everybody can speak for 1 minute, everybody has, you know, just make it a real conversation. You're trying to engage people, get them engaged. Don't put limits that are going to make them less engaged. One of the things that you can do is, and some of you may do it already, is when you have an important topic, you can have people take a few minutes before you start discussing to jot down some ideas that are important to them. And then you can begin to go around the room. You know, Sarah, what's your thinking on this? Simon, what's yours? Because otherwise what of course happens, what happens? The dominant people talk, the quiet people don't talk. Sometimes the quiet people have the best ideas, but we never heard them because we didn't give them the opportunity, we didn't pull it out. Make it an expectation that people will share. That part of being on this board, one of the expectations has to be, you will give us your input. This is important. We value the input of our people. And we have to make sure that we say this in a lot of ways. What we really want to let people know is that we encourage, we can't just say it, we have to show that we really want their input. One of the things that we can do is provide a cheat sheet. One is a list of questions that board members should be asking. Give that to people. Say, here are some samples of the things you're responsible for making sure that come out. It makes it very easy to say, look, we want you to do this. After a while, it becomes natural. People start asking questions, but sometimes they need that little thing to kick them off. One of the other things, you have the organization's skeptic. Today, it's Peter. Peter's responsible for asking these questions. The questions have to come out, all right? This is the way that, you know, you really make sure that somebody is saying, will this work? Very, very, very important. But again, you have to build it into the culture. So that's one of the things you can do that. Value disagreement as a way of coming up with creative new ideas. Most of us are uncomfortable with disagreement. Now, we don't want disagreement about personality issues. We can put a stop to that. So you have to kind of say, no, we appreciate and we respect the great ideas. We encourage ideas. We want to reward ideas. We want to disreward the kind of behavior that stomps on ideas. And so, you know, again, be creative, come up with what works for you, but think about some of these things that help the group understand that we encourage participation. We encourage different ideas. Make sure people look at assumptions. You know, make sure that, and maybe that can be something you assign to the organization skeptic. We tend to do things again and again and again and again just because. It's the way we always did them. So we really have to begin to look and say, why? All right. Test our perspectives. You know, all of us look at things differently. The key is that we are really asking our people to give us their different perspectives. I mean, it's really, really important. And we can ask them for two things. And again, we're trying to say practical ideas. I don't want to just say ask them for their perspectives. Here's practical ideas. How do we get different perspectives? We ask them, what does this mean for you in your business in the outside world? If we're going to pursue this concept, what would that do for you? What would that mean for you as a father, a mother, a daughter? What would this mean for you as a physician, as an engineer, blah, 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 all right? What would this mean for you if you were our client? What would this mean for you if you were one of our vendors? What would this mean for you if you were one of our funders? The board, you as board, those of you who are board members can do that. You can put yourself in the position of some of these other individuals, but you need to. If you are looking at it just from the perspective as a board, you're not going to get the broad spectrum of views that you need to make the best decision. Again, we're trying to, how do we get strategic thinking? We get strategic thinking by giving people very specific ways of looking at things differently.